Every single day, millions of bananas are harvested across the vast landscape of India, feeding not just a nation of over 1 billion people, but supplying markets across the entire world. When you peel back a banana anywhere on this planet, there's a very good chance that fruit traveled thousands of miles from a small farm in India where a farmer woke up before dawn, walked through rows of towering banana plants, and carefully selected the perfect bunch to cut down. This is not just agriculture. This is an industry so massive, so intricate, and so vital to the global economy that most people cannot even begin to comprehend its scale. India produces more bananas than any other country on Earth. We are talking about over 30 million metric tons every single year. That number is so large it almost loses meaning, but consider this. If you lined up all the bananas India produces in a single year, they would circle the entire planet multiple times. And behind every single one of those bananas, there is a story. There's a farmer. There's a family. There's a tradition that has been passed down through generations. Today, we are going to take you deep inside this incredible industry, from the muddy fields where these fruits grow to the massive factories where they are transformed into the crispy banana chips that people around the world cannot stop eating. Before we continue on this incredible journey through India's banana heartland, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone who needs to see the amazing story behind one of the world's most popular fruits. Trust me, by the end of this documentary, you will never look at a banana the same way again. Now, let me tell you about a man named Rajesh Kumar. Rajesh wakes up every morning at 4:30 in the small village of Jalgaon, located in the western state of Maharashtra. His father was a banana farmer. His grandfather was a banana farmer. And his great-grandfather was a banana farmer. For Rajesh, growing bananas is not just a profession. It is his entire identity. It is in his blood. When I met Rajesh during the research for this documentary, he told me something that has stayed with me ever since. He said, people think bananas just grow on trees, but each banana is like raising a child. You have to nurture it, protect it, and give it everything it needs to grow strong. Rajesh owns about 5 acres of land, which by Indian standards makes him a medium-sized farmer. On those 5 acres, he grows over 2,000 banana plants, and each of those plants will produce a single bunch of bananas weighing anywhere from 25 to 50 kilograms. When you do the math, Rajesh's small farm produces somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 kilograms of bananas every single year. And remember, Rajesh is just one farmer among millions. The state of Maharashtra, where Rajesh lives, is one of the top banana-producing regions in India, but it is far from the only one. When you travel south to the states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Karnataka, you enter what can only be described as banana country. Here, bananas are not just a crop. They are a way of life. The entire economy of some districts revolves around this single fruit. In the town of Theni in Tamil Nadu, which many people call the banana capital of India, you can drive for hours and see nothing but banana plantations stretching out to the horizon in every direction. The landscape is dominated by the large, broad leaves of banana plants, creating a sea of green that seems to go on forever. During harvest season, the roads are clogged with trucks loaded so high with banana bunches that they look like they might tip over at any moment. Workers move through the fields with machetes, cutting down bunches that can weigh as much as a small child. The air is thick with the sweet smell of ripening fruit, and the sound of commerce fills every village in town. But what makes Indian banana farming truly unique is the incredible diversity of varieties grown here. While most people in Western countries only know the Cavendish banana, the yellow fruit you find in every supermarket, India grows over a dozen commercially significant varieties, each with its own distinct flavor, texture, and purpose. There's a Nendram banana, sometimes called a plantain, which is larger and starchier than the common banana and is a primary variety used for making banana chips. There's a Robusta, a high-yielding variety that has become popular among commercial farmers because of its resistance to disease and its ability to produce large bunches. There's the red banana, a striking fruit with reddish-purple skin that is sweeter and creamier than yellow varieties, and is considered a delicacy in many parts of India. There is the Rastli, also known as the silk banana, which has a thin skin and a honey-like sweetness that makes it one of the most expensive varieties in Indian markets. And there are many more, each variety suited to different climates, different soils, and different uses. The journey of banana from a tiny sucker to a fully mature plant ready for harvest takes between 11 and 14 months, depending on the variety and the growing conditions. It begins when a farmer plants a small shoot, called a sucker, that has been carefully separated from a mature banana plant. These suckers contain all the genetic material needed to grow into a new plant, and selecting the right suckers is considered an art form among experienced farmers. A good sucker should have a thick base, healthy leaves, and no signs of disease or pest damage. Farmers like Rajesh often spend hours examining potential suckers, looking for the subtle signs that separate a sucker that will thrive from one that will struggle. Once planted, the sucker begins to grow rapidly, sending up new leaves from its central core at an astonishing rate. A healthy banana plant can produce a new leaf every 7 to 10 days, and each of those leaves can grow to be 2 meters long and half a meter wide. As the plant grows taller, it develops what appears to be a trunk, but botanically speaking, this structure is not a true trunk at all. It is actually a pseudostem, a tightly packed cylinder of leaf sheaths wrapped around each other. This pseudostem is incredibly strong, capable of supporting the weight of a mature banana bunch, yet it is composed almost entirely of water and plant fiber. If you cut through a banana pseudostem, you'll find it is soft and moist inside, more like a vegetable than the woody trunk of a true tree. This is why banana plants are technically classified as herbs, not trees, making the banana the largest herbaceous flowering plant on Earth. Around 8 to 10 months after planting, the banana plant begins a reproductive process that will eventually produce the fruit we all know and love. Deep inside the plant, at the base of the pseudostem, a flower bud begins to form. This bud will travel up to the center of the pseudostem, eventually emerging at the top of the plant as a large purple structure called the inflorescence. Watching a banana inflorescence emerge is one of nature's most remarkable sights. The purple bud gradually opens, revealing rows of tiny banana flowers arranged in clusters called hands. Each hand contains anywhere from 10 to 20 individual flowers, and each of those flowers will develop into a single banana. As the inflorescence continues to open, more and more hands are revealed, until the entire structure resembles a massive cluster of miniature bananas hanging from a central stalk. Over the following 3 to 4 months, these tiny fruits will grow and mature, transforming from thin green fingers into the plump yellow bananas we recognize. During this critical period, farmers must be extremely vigilant, protecting their developing fruit from pests, diseases, and environmental damage. In many plantations, workers wrap each developing bunch in blue plastic bags. This practice serves multiple purposes. The bags protect the fruit from insects and birds. They create a slightly warmer microclimate that speeds up ripening, and they prevent the bananas from developing dark spots caused by rubbing against the leaves. From a distance, a banana plantation during this stage looks almost surreal, with thousands of blue bags hanging from the plants like strange fruit from an alien world. Harvesting bananas is a physically demanding job that requires skill, timing, and teamwork. Unlike many fruits, bananas cannot be left on the plant until they are fully ripe. If you wait too long, the bananas will begin to ripen on the stalk, become too soft for transport, and eventually split open and rot. Instead, bananas must be harvested when they are still green and firm, at a stage of maturity where they will ripen properly after being picked. Knowing exactly when a bunch has reached this stage is a skill that farmers develop over years of experience. They look at the color of the bananas, the fullness of the individual fruits, the angle at which the bunch hangs, and dozens of other subtle indicators that tell them whether a bunch is ready for harvest. When the decision is made to harvest a bunch, the process requires at least 2 workers. One worker positions themselves beneath the bunch, bracing themselves to catch its weight, while the second worker uses a long curved knife called a dowel to cut through the stalk. The moment the stalk is severed, the entire weight of the bunch, which can easily exceed 40 kilograms, falls onto the waiting worker's shoulder. It is backbreaking work. The workers carry these heavy bunches through the plantation, often walking hundreds of meters over uneven ground, to collection points where the bananas are loaded onto trucks. In the hottest months, when temperatures can exceed 40 degrees Celsius, workers start before dawn and take long breaks during the middle of the day to avoid heat exhaustion. Despite these precautions, the work takes a physical toll. Many banana workers develop chronic back problems, shoulder injuries, and calloused hands from years of harvesting. From the plantation, the freshly harvested bananas begin their journey through the supply chain. Some bunches are destined for local markets, where they will be sold to consumers who will eat them fresh. Others are sent to distant cities across India, traveling by truck along highways that connect rural farming areas to urban centers like Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, and Kolkata. Still others are processed into various banana-based products, from baby food to flour to the incredibly popular banana chips that have become a global snack sensation. And this is where our story takes a fascinating turn, because the banana chip industry in India has grown into a multi-million-dollar enterprise that employs tens of thousands of workers and exports products to countries around the world. Kerala, the small coastal state on India's southwestern tip, is the undisputed capital of banana chip production. Here, making banana chips is not just an industry, it is a tradition that stretches back generations. Long before potato chips became popular, the people of Kerala were slicing bananas thin, frying them in coconut oil, and sprinkling them with salt and spices to create one of the world's first snack foods. Today, that tradition has evolved into a massive industrial operation, with factories ranging from small family-run operations producing a few hundred kilograms per day to large mechanized facilities churning out tons of chips every hour. The production process begins with the selection of the right bananas. For chips, manufacturers almost exclusively use the Nendam variety, a large, sturdy banana with a high starch content and a firm texture that makes it ideal for frying. Unlike the soft, sweet bananas most people eat fresh, Nendam bananas are harder and less sweet, with a flavor profile that develops beautifully when cooked. These bananas must be harvested at exactly the right stage of maturity. If they are too young, the chips will be hard and bland. If they are too ripe, the chips will turn brown during frying and have an unappealing mushy texture. Finding this perfect balance requires experience and careful quality control. When the Nendam bananas arrive at a processing facility, they go through an initial inspection where workers check for quality and remove any damaged or diseased fruits. The bananas are then washed to remove dirt and debris, and the ends are trimmed off. At this point, the bananas still have their thick peel intact, and the next step is to remove it. In smaller operations, this is done by hand, with workers using sharp knives to strip away the skin. In larger factories, specialized machines can peel dozens of bananas per minute, dramatically increasing efficiency. The peeled bananas are then sliced into thin, uniform rounds. The thickness of these slices is crucial to the final product. Too thick, and the chips will not become properly crispy. Too thin, and they will burn or break apart during frying. Most manufacturers aim for slices between 1 and 2 millimeters thick, thin enough to achieve the perfect crunch, but substantial enough to maintain structural integrity. Again, in smaller operations, workers slice the bananas by hand using mandolins or specialized cutting tools. In larger factories, industrial slicing machines can process hundreds of kilograms of bananas per hour, producing thousands of perfectly uniform slices. After slicing, the banana slices are typically soaked in water, sometimes with a small amount of turmeric added. The turmeric serves multiple purposes. It gives the chips a slight golden color. It adds a subtle earthy flavor, and it has natural preservative properties that help extend the shelf life of the finished product. After soaking, the slices are drained and patted dry, because any excess moisture will cause the oil to splatter dangerously when the chips are added to the fryer. Now comes the most critical step in the entire process: frying. The choice of oil is perhaps the most important decision a chip manufacturer makes, and in Kerala, there is only one acceptable option: coconut oil. While some mainland Indian producers use cheaper alternatives like palm oil or vegetable oil, authentic Kerala banana chips are always fried in pure coconut oil. This gives them their distinctive flavor, a subtle sweetness and richness that sets them apart from chips fried in other oils. The coconut oil is heated to between 160 and 180 degrees Celsius, hot enough to cook the bananas quickly and achieve a crispy texture, but not so hot that the oil burns or the chips develop off flavors. The sliced bananas are carefully added to the hot oil in small batches. Overcrowding the fryer causes the oil temperature to drop, resulting in greasy, soggy chips instead of crispy ones. The bananas fry for 4 to 6 minutes, during which time the water in the slices evaporates and the starches transform into the golden, crunchy matrix that gives chips their satisfying texture. Workers constantly monitor the color and texture of the frying chips, adjusting the heat and timing as needed. When the chips reach the perfect golden color and float on the surface of the oil, they are quickly removed using slotted spoons or wire baskets and transferred to draining stations where excess oil is allowed to run off. The freshly fried chips are then seasoned while still warm, which helps the salt and spices adhere to the surface. The most common seasoning is simple salt, but many producers also make spice versions flavored with chili, black pepper, or proprietary spice blends. Some manufacturers add a touch of sugar for a sweet and salty flavor profile, while others experiment with modern flavorings like masala, jaggery, or even chocolate. Once seasoned, the chips are allowed to cool completely before being packaged in airtight bags or containers that protect them from moisture and keep them crispy for weeks or even months. The economics of the banana chip industry are complex and reveal much about the challenges facing Indian agriculture. A farmer like Rajesh might sell his raw bananas for anywhere from 5 to 15 rupees per kilogram, depending on market conditions and the variety. By the time those bananas have been processed into chips, packaged, and placed on a store shelf, they might sell for 200 to 500 rupees per kilogram. The vast majority of that added value goes not to the farmer, but to processors, distributors, and retailers. This has led to growing calls for farmers to become more directly involved in processing and value addition, keeping more of the profits within rural communities rather than seeing them flow to urban-based corporations. In response to these concerns, many farmer cooperatives and producer organizations have begun setting up their own small-scale processing facilities. In villages across Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Karnataka, you can now find community-owned chip-making operations where farmers bring their bananas and participate in the processing, sharing in the higher profits that come from selling finished products rather than raw materials. These cooperative operations have become models of rural entrepreneurship, providing employment for women who previously had few income-generating opportunities and keeping economic activity within farming communities. One such cooperative in the village of Kazancheri in Kerala has become a remarkable success story. Started 15 years ago by a group of 12 women with a small loan and basic equipment, the cooperative now employs over 50 workers and produces 2,000 kilograms of banana chips every single day. The women who founded the cooperative, most of whom had never run a business before, have become respected entrepreneurs in their community. They have used their profits to send their children to college, build new homes, and invest in even more processing equipment. Their story has inspired similar cooperatives across India, demonstrating that the banana industry can create prosperity at every level of the supply chain, not just for large corporations. But the banana industry also faces significant challenges that threaten its future. Climate change is altering rainfall patterns across India, making it increasingly difficult for farmers to plan their planting and harvesting cycles. Bananas are particularly sensitive to water stress, requiring consistent moisture throughout their growing period, but suffering root rot if the soil becomes waterlogged. In recent years, farmers have experienced both severe droughts that withered their plants and devastating floods that destroyed entire plantations. Scientists predict that these extreme weather events will become more frequent and more intense in the coming decades, forcing farmers to adapt or abandon banana cultivation altogether. Disease is another major concern. The Panama disease, caused by a soil-borne fungus called Fusarium oxysporum, has devastated banana plantations across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. A particularly virulent strain known as tropical race, for has already caused massive damage to plantations in Southeast Asia and is slowly spreading westward toward India. Once the fungus is present in the soil, there is no effective treatment, and the land becomes unsuitable for growing susceptible banana varieties for decades. Indian researchers and farmers are watching the spread of this disease with growing concern, investing in quarantine measures and searching for resistant varieties that might allow them to continue cultivation even if the fungus arrives. Labor is becoming increasingly scarce and expensive as well. Young people in rural India are increasingly unwilling to take on the backbreaking work of banana farming, preferring to seek employment in cities where the work is less physically demanding and the wages are often higher. This has created a labor shortage in many banana-growing regions, driving up costs and forcing farmers to mechanize wherever possible. But bananas are notoriously difficult to harvest mechanically. The plants are irregular in shape, the bunches hang at different heights, and the fruit is easily damaged by rough handling. Designing machines that can match the skill and gentleness of human harvesters has proven to be an enormous engineering challenge. Despite these challenges, the future of India's banana industry remains bright. Demand for bananas and banana products continues to grow both domestically and internationally. Indian banana chips have found enthusiastic markets in the Middle East, Europe, and North America, where consumers appreciate their unique flavor and texture. New processing technologies are being developed that could allow manufacturers to produce healthier chips with less oil, opening up markets among health-conscious consumers. Researchers are working on new banana varieties that are more resistant to disease, more tolerant of climate stress, and more suitable for mechanized harvesting. Perhaps most importantly, the millions of farmers, workers, and entrepreneurs who make up India's banana industry remain committed to their way of life and determined to overcome whatever challenges they face. When you speak to farmers like Rajesh Kumar, you hear not despair but determination. They understand the difficulties ahead, but they also understand the incredible value of what they do. They feed hundreds of millions of people. They maintain traditions that stretch back generations. They support communities that would otherwise have no economic base. And they produce a fruit that brings joy to people around the world. The next time you eat a banana or crunch into a banana chip, I want you to think about the incredible journey that fruit has taken to reach you. Think about the farmer who planted the sucker in the soil almost a year before you would taste the fruit. Think about the workers who carried heavy bunches through the plantation under the hot sun. Think about the processors who sliced and fried and seasoned the chips with skill passed down through generations. Think about the truck drivers who transported the product across thousands of kilometers. Think about all the hands, all the expertise, all the dedication that goes into bringing this simple fruit from a field in India to your kitchen or your lunchbox. India's banana industry is not just about economics or agriculture. It is about human beings striving to provide for their families, maintain their traditions, and build better futures for their children. It is about communities working together to transform a raw material into value-added products that can compete in the global marketplace. It is about innovation and adaptation, about finding new ways to do things while respecting the wisdom of the past. It is about resilience, about continuing to farm and process, and sell even when the challenges seem overwhelming. In the town of Theni, which I mentioned earlier as the banana capital of India, there's a statue in the central market square. It shows a farmer holding a banana bunch on his shoulder, looking toward the horizon with an expression of quiet pride. Local people call the statue the provider, and they say it represents not just banana farmers, but all the hardworking people who feed the nation. When I visited the statue during the research for this documentary, an elderly farmer named Selvam stood next to me, also gazing at the bronze figure. He told me that his grandfather knew the man who had posed for the statue decades ago. That man's grandchildren still farm bananas, Selvam said, and my grandchildren will too, God willing. This is what we do. This is who we are. That sense of identity, of purpose, of connection to something larger than oneself, is perhaps the most remarkable thing about India's banana industry. It is not just about growing fruit or making chips. It is about maintaining a way of life that has sustained communities for centuries. It is about passing knowledge from one generation to the next. It is about taking pride in honest work that provides real value to real people. As our world becomes increasingly urbanized and industrialized, places like the banana farms of Tamil Nadu and the chip factories of Kerala become ever more precious. They remind us where our food comes from. They show us the human faces behind the products we consume. They connect us to agricultural traditions that stretch back thousands of years. And they demonstrate that even in the modern global economy, there is still a place for small farmers, family businesses, and community enterprises. The next time you see bananas at your local market, I hope you will pause for a moment and consider the incredible story behind this humble fruit. I hope you will think about Rajesh waking up before dawn to check on his plants. I hope you will think about the women of Kazancherry turning raw bananas into crispy chips. I hope you will think about all the workers who carried, sorted, processed, and transported those bananas across continents and oceans to reach you. And I hope you will appreciate not just the delicious taste of the fruit, but the remarkable human achievement that brought it to your table. Thank you for joining me on this journey through India's massive banana industry. I hope this documentary has given you a new appreciation for one of the world's most popular fruits and the millions of people who work tirelessly to produce it. From the fields of Jolgong to the factories of Kerala, from the bustling markets of Chennai to store shelves around the world, the story of the Indian banana is ultimately a story about human dedication, ingenuity, and resilience. It is a story worth telling, and I am grateful you have allowed me to share it with you today.